tonight. Fast start.
Yes, sir.
So characterize that, and then did you finish well enough?
Yes, sir. I think we came out pretty fast. I think we put it on the first 3 drives. We just got to do better finishing.
You know, good game for you. Obviously, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches for 56 yards. Can you kind of assess maybe your performance and kind of what you think about the whole night?
I think I just made the plays that came to me. Like I said, as an offense, we just got to do better.
Again, Coach Herman has been tough on you guys.
Facts.
To get that first win for him, what does that mean for the team?
I think it's huge. Just like he said, he's been on the coaching for a while, so just being on the team to come back. Well, for him to come back and just win his first game, and just to see the smile on his face and the excitement that he had going through the week, and just to see it all play out after the game in the locker room, I think that was huge.
Casey was 20 of 25. Did you feel the sharpness in the passing game was there?
Yes, sir. Obviously, like I said, we still gotta get better. But yeah, he was on target today.
Can you talk about Coach Herman and exactly, obviously he could say anything, show you how to win, but when you have a performance like that, you guys came out, I think you scored on your first 3 drives. Can you talk about everything he says? When did it click like, wow, if we buy into what he says, we could have short-term and long-term success?
I think it clicked, really for me, it clicked as soon as he got here. I just saw the way that he carried himself and the way that he wanted to carry this program, and I feel like that's when it clicked for me. And for the rest of the team, I feel like everybody just started believing once, the product was put out. In spring, people started to see, the different culture and how things was moving. So, I think Coach Herman did a great job coming in and just establishing that.
Well, Coach Herman, obviously,
Last one, please.
yeah, Coach Herman had success at other universities, so have you been able to draw off the success of some of his other universities, and has he told you experiences about what he had done to try to make you guys better?
Sometimes he refers to it, but we're not really worried about that. We're worried about FAU and how FAU is going to win.
Thanks, Je'Quan.
Thank you.
Coaches next up.
Yeah, I want to send our thoughts and prayers to the Price family. I know Terry Price was honored today in College Station, and his son Devin plays for us, and his wife Kenya was here in Boca Raton, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows, how much we're thinking about the Price family as well as the Wester family. They lost a loved one in a car accident last night, and, so we had 3 of our players dealing with a death in the family today. So, but I thought the way we started, I was really, really happy with. I felt like we had taken the last 9 months and really applied everything that we've been teaching and everything that the young men have learned. And then, I felt like the last 2 drives really, they were 5 and 7 drives, the last 2 drives of the first half. We can't convert on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 on offense, and then we give up a 2-minute drive as for a touchdown. And I told the team at halftime, this isn't last year, and you get up 28-7 at home. You metaphorically, you firmly got your hands around the throat and you're squeezing, and what we did there to end the half, we relaxed, and when you relax on a good football team, regardless of where they're from or what conference they're in, you give them life, you give them the ability to breathe, they're gonna breathe. And now you got to start all over again. And that's what we did in the 3rd quarter, and was happy with the way we responded in the 3rd quarter. And then as the game was kind of decided there in the 4th, though, we've got to do a better job when we get our rotational players in there of finishing games out. So I do believe in the old adage of getting better. I haven't done this over 25 years, and now my 8th year as a head coach. It is true. Very, very infrequently our old adage is true, but this one is, in terms of teams getting better from week 1 to week 2, and you just can't simulate the 4 hours that we went through tonight. And so we've got a lot of film that we can learn from, and there's no doubt in my mind that our guys will be better for having gone through kind of a bit of a roller coaster of a game like this. And was I disappointed that we weren't able to really, for lack of a better term, choke another team out? Yeah, I was disappointed in that, but also not surprised. It takes a long time to learn that skill, a long time, and we got a taste of it tonight of what it's not supposed to feel like, and we can use that to really then teach moving forward.
Casey threw 5 touchdowns, close to 300 yards. How would you sort of assess his performance in his FAU debut?
Good. I thought the most impressive thing was, the way he came back after throwing the pick. That's a play he's probably been running since he was 8 years old, and it's old as the hills, as we say, and they jumped into a coverage that they hadn't shown all night, and he got caught off guard, and he knew it, and he goes right out and throws a strike to Tony Johnson for a 75-yard touchdown. So I think that's what you're getting with Casey. Is he going to make a mistake or two? Certainly, every kid does, but he's played so much football that he understands how long the game is. He understands that one mistake is not unrecoverable from, and he learned from it and flushed it. And I thought he played, other than that, he missed a hot throw one time in the game too that cost us. But to have 2 misreads out of the amount of snaps that he played, I think he played, other than those couple snaps, really, really well for us.
Coach, there were some ups and downs with the defense, but the defense did a pretty good job of limiting their best rusher, and James Sheridan, to 66 yards. How would you describe their overall performance when it came to limiting the running game?
Yeah, the run defense was impressive. I mean, that's a team that, like I said, I don't care what conference they're in, what level they play at, but when you jog the nation's leading rusher in an 11-game season, that certainly had our ears perked up the entire couple weeks of preparation, and I thought our defense responded well into hemming him into not just the 66 total yards net, but 2.8 a carry. They tried to give him the ball, they tried to feed him, and we did a really good job. Long at 22. A couple missed tackles on that one, but to hold the nation's leading rusher to 2.8 yards a carry, that's a pretty good day at the office.
Hey, Coach, let's talk about the performance of Larry McCammon, the guy once again.
Motor City Mad Mouth.
Yeah.
You from Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you're a Mad Mouth?
Well, I trademarked it. I better be.
Okay.
Cost me a lot of money. Yeah, that's what my on-air name is, but I'm glad you noticed it. Thank you. I appreciate the acknowledgement. Thank you. So let's talk about Larry McCammon. Now you got me on my thought here. Great game, not only in the ground, but what he also was able to do, as well as in the passing game. Multi-versatile.
That's what Larry brings you. Larry was second highest vote getter in terms of captains.
Yeah.
He's a really, really good player. He's got great body control, really good vision. I thought he was a little impatient in the run game tonight. I'll see a little bit more on film when we weren't able to get the run game going quite as much. And I know he had 125 yards, but felt like a lot of those yards were on a couple of different carries, and we put the ball on the ground going in the end zone. He'll beat himself up a lot for that too. But I thought Larry showed kind of everybody what we've seen for 9 months, which is he's an all-purpose guy. He can catch, he can block, he can certainly run between the tackles. When you get him on the perimeter, he can make guys miss or run over them. We're going to need Kobe back. That was quite a workload for both those, him and Zoo. That's 28 carries combined. So we'll be better off when we have Kobe, to be able to rotate all 3 of them. But I thought Larry really, really showed, all facets of his ability level.
Coach, can you talk about the leadership of this team? Obviously, a lot of changes. You keep talking about the last 9 months. When did you really know who the leaders were and how they bought in? And not just bought in, but they basically brought everyone along with them in the practice field. And obviously it showed tonight in an impressive win. So can you talk about, one or two guys who were like, wow, as soon as I got here, I knew this guy was all in?
Yeah, I would say Federico probably fits that bill of, the immediate buy-in. Chaz Neal, I think would fall into that category. Armani Adams, we'll see the extent of his injury, but, the usual suspects, if you will, the captains and guys on our leadership committee. The old guys are tired of 5 wins a year. And I think they were very willing and eager to try new things. And now there's other guys that weren't. And, a little resistive to change and discipline and selflessness instead of selfishness. And we've either converted or gotten rid of most of those guys, but there's still a few, and we'll either convert them or get rid of those too. But for the most part, I think, with those older guys leading the way and the frustration of the last few years, I think it was a pretty easy sell, because it's fact. You keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna keep getting what you got. And I think those guys especially really understood the necessity for change.
Coach, I'm wondering, is this kind of like almost a perfect first game in that you did enough to win easy, but you have enough to go back and kind of critique and say, hey, we need to get that?
Yes, yeah, I think perfect would have been 77-0. But I think in terms of the way, in your context, in terms of the ability to come away with a significant margin of victory, but still have so many things that you can improve on and be able to coach hard about. It's a lot easier to coach hard when you win. You gotta play psychologist a little bit when you don't, and when you win, it gives you the ability to coach them hard and make them understand that winning isn't enough. And I don't mean that by the amount or the score or whatever, it's the way that you win. And as we've already talked about, I think there's plenty of teachable moments in terms of the roller coaster ride, a little bit that we were on tonight, but at the end of the day, there's a lot to be happy about too. Like we said, we held the nation's leading rusher to 2.8 a carry. We had 5 touchdown passes, had almost 500 yards and 42 points. So I'm not certainly down in the dumps, but as a coach, I look at 3 and 9 on third down, 0 of 2 on the second fourth down was just we were getting the game over with. But the 1 fourth down was disappointing, and then just we didn't run the ball well when we had to, and we didn't play the deep balls well at corner. I mean, there's a laundry list of things to improve on, but you are right in terms of the psychology of a team. We did enough to win and win decidedly, but we also know we left a lot out there too, and we've got a lot to coach off of.
Both Je'Quan Burton and Tony Johnson grabbed a pair of touchdowns, receiving touchdowns, which are both career highs for those two. How much does that speak to the jumps they have made in their respective games?
Yeah, I've been telling anybody that'll listen, I think our 3 starting wideouts are really good. And we got to keep finding number 4, 5, and 6, because or else we're going to run those guys to tags over a 14-game season. So, but having those guys perform the way that they did, I think says a lot to their A, ability level, but B, their willingness to do some dirty work too. I saw those guys making some key blocks in the run game, key blocks downfield when guys were out there in the open field. So really, really happy, not just for those guys individually, but more so for the future of that side of the ball, I think, you know, if we can get a couple guys to take the load off them from time to time, you know, we've got a chance to be pretty damn balanced up there.
Coach, I know you've acknowledged where I'm from. I know where you used to coach on the other side of Ohio State, but now I got the Ohio Bobcats coming in next week. So what is it you're going to take away from this game that will help you make things a little bit easier for yourself and better next week?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's one of the country's best quarterbacks. You know, he's a really, really good player. We watched him in the summertime and doing some of our off-season scouting, and really, really good player. Obviously, you know, their game against San Diego State, you could feel when he went out, they were a different team. And so, you asked what we need to do. Obviously, we need to play more consistent throughout 4 quarters. Right. Just overall, but I think, you know, we've also got to be prepared for a much better opponent, you know, deeper opponent to come in here, and when the quality of opponent obviously goes up, then the quality of your play has to match that. And so we've got to find a way here in the next 5 days to get a lot better to be able to compete with them.
Coach, the up-tempo offense along with the no-huddle offense looked very crisp tonight for a week 1 matchup. What does that say about the preparation of Casey and the offense as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I don't mean to poo-poo the question. I would hope, I mean, that's kind of standard for us. You know, we're gonna vary our tempo. We're not gonna live at warp speed. You know, I don't. Offense, defense, special teams, they're not mutually exclusive. You got to play the game, manage the game the way that the game dictates to be managed. But I thought when we did step on the gas a little bit, it paid dividends. And so, you know, it's like you said, you got to have a game manager back there doing it too. And I thought Casey did a really good job of managing the game from that standpoint.
Do you have any status updates on Amani Eli Adams at the moment?
No, I know it was a head, neck. Obviously, he was moving everything and wide-eyed and all that. So I would imagine we'll know more here tomorrow, you know, in the next day or two.
Coach, I know it's early, but you kept talking about the 9 months, and you've only played 1 game. But all the hard work, and the guys saw what it was on the field. When you walked into that locker room, did you sense a kind of relief, or hey, this is not the same team, this is not last year, you know, the confidence, the swag? I mean, you got to play this game with confidence. Did you sense that when you went in there, or it's 1 game, let's enjoy it, but let's move on? Do you sense a difference in their attitude from this win, because everything you've told them seemed to work perfectly in this game?
I do, and that's a testament to the leaders, it's a testament to our assistant coaches, our strength staff. But yeah, I think a lot of the veterans have expressed to me how different things feel, and I think maybe the most gratifying sense that I get from this team is that they're not satisfied. You know, I get the feeling, I wasn't here last year, so I can't speak to it, but I get the feeling that a lot of these guys would be elated with tonight, and I think we're happy we won, but I think most of that locker room understands that 500 yards and all that stuff and 5 touchdown passes is all good. It's all good. I don't want to take anything away, but they also, there's a level of dissatisfaction in that locker room that I think is very healthy, and it's never good enough, and I like that. You know, as Kobe Bryant famously said, you don't rest in the middle, you rest at the end.
Exactly.
And we're smack dab in the middle. And I think when you break it down from a game standpoint, you know, we learned that lesson, been trying to tell them, but probably just like your kids, if you have kids, or anybody that has kids, they think they know more than you, and they're gonna try it their way first, and they're gonna have to learn the hard way. And I think we learned the hard way there towards the end of the first half that, you know, championship teams find ways to close teams out when you got them on the ropes, and we'll be better at that for not having done that. But to your point, there is a healthy level of dissatisfaction in there, happy with kind of, wow, if, you know, you can parse out parts of the game where I think the guys do, and you say, wow, when we play our best, we're pretty effing good, you know, but I think they also realize that our B or C game, not yet anyways, is not good enough to beat anybody. But our A game, we probably beat anybody. So, but we gotta find ways to play our A game every week and our A game throughout the entire 4 quarters too. And that's a difficult task for any team. But we're good enough. And I keep telling our guys, our best is good enough. You don't have to do anything superhuman against anybody we play. Don't have to hope or wish or pray that they screw it up on the other side. All we gotta do is go out and play our best, play with our greater sense of purpose than our opponent, which is playing for the guy next to you, genuine love for the guy, and we're gonna be just fine. We're gonna be really good. Now it's my job, it's our job as coaches, to keep our thumb on the team to make sure that we get the best out of them, play in, play out, week in, week out.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
Can I go home now?
Last year, under 3 yards a carry.
Yes, sir. You know, ultimately, we still got a lot of improvement we need to do, but it was a good win. I'm excited. You know, it's always been a dream to play FBS ball, so you know, it was a really exciting moment for me to be out here tonight.
Did it feel any different, or did football feel like football?
It honestly felt easier tonight with the preparation, Coach Herman and everything. The game felt so much easier. It flowed a lot easier. My keys, my reads were just easier this year than it's been in the past. So yeah.
You led the team in tackles with 7, including 5 solo. How would you attribute that to your level of execution when it comes to stopping the plays whether the opposing offense is running?
Can you reword that for me again?
How would you describe your performance in stopping the opposing offense from being successful with their plays?
Ultimately, you know, Coach Rock had a great game plan, and we just came out and executed, and that's my job, you know, to lead those boys out there on the field and get them in the right fits. And you know, still need improvement. That was week 1, but you know, I'm pretty happy with the way we performed tonight.
Where do you think the improvements should be? And it seems like the running game, stopping the run was successful, but maybe in the passing there were some mistakes that you guys made.
Yeah.
Would you say those are some of the improvements you guys are trying to make?
We'll definitely see that tomorrow on film. You know, we'll go over it with our coaches and we'll see what we need to improve on. But you know, ultimately, you know, I'm happy for this win. You know, week 1. You know, like Coach Herman said, you know, there's a lot of improvement between week 1 and week 2 with championship teams. So I'm excited that we got this win tonight.
Did you feel you guys played close to your capability for a lot of the game, or do you think there was a lot more there?
That's a great question. I feel like, I mean, there's always room for improvement, no matter what. I mean, you could blow somebody out and do a big goose egg, but there's always room for improvement. So, yeah.
With this being the first game, there's a lot to be expected, but there's a lot to be unexpected. Do you think there are players who took, like yourself, that took the advantage and of the opportunity to like showcase what they are really capable of on the field?
Absolutely. I mean, we were rotating guys throughout the whole game, and guys came out and showed out, and that's ultimately what we're here to do, is execute on our jobs. And I mean, coach isn't going to put out anybody out there he doesn't trust. So, yeah, I'm happy with how the boys performed.
Anybody else? Thanks, Jackson.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel good. It was good, like I said, just to fight back from an injury, the long days of rehab and doing treatments, and you know, waking up and doing 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. treatments, you know, 3 times a day for the last 9 or 10 months. But tonight was really good to kind of get back into that game environment, and I really felt the best. My adrenaline was going obviously in warm-ups, but when I took a few hits, that's when I knew, like, okay, now I feel good and I feel comfortable, and I'm able to settle down and just play ball. So I was really excited to be back out there, and obviously it was a good win, so I was happy about that for the team.
Do you feel like Santa, kind of distributing the ball to all your receivers and helping all of them score?
Yeah, and my job is to just to spread out and distribute the football, just to be a point guard for the team, and to make good decisions. And I feel like for the most part, did a good job of that. But I didn't even realized I kind of lost track. Towards the end of the game, I kind of was sitting over on the sideline with the guys, and I was like, you know, they were each counting how many touchdowns they had apiece, and I was like, Wayne, you had 2, and he was like, I had 2, and I was like, oh, and I thought you had 1, and they were like, no, you threw that to me, you know, and I kind of just try to focus on one play at a time, but I'm really happy for the guys. We have a really talented receiver core, and we have a really good running back room as well with Larry and Zuberi, so really happy to get the win, but I'm happy for the guys that I got to, you know, dish the football out to. And it was good to see, you know, guys have 5 different touchdowns, and then Larry McCammon is, he's unreal, he's a great running back, and he's one of the best I've been around. So just seeing him on game day, seeing Tony Johnson and Je'Quan Burton and LeJontay on game day, and you know, obviously I just, you know, got here not too long ago, but this is my first time being in a live game setting with the guys, and they really impressed me, and they showed me a lot of really good signs.
You know, not a lot of people in this program have thrown for 5 touchdowns, and you did it tonight. You did also have the 1 interception. So, you know, as a whole, how would you sort of assess your performance?
Yeah, I mean, almost a near, I wouldn't say perfect, but almost a perfect, clean game. You know, going out there, I didn't know what the stat sheet was, but I found out after the game that I went 20 for 25 with 5 touchdowns, like 232 QBR and 1 interception. But honestly, I was just focused on the game. I wasn't worried about the stat line. I felt like I had a pretty good game. It could be better. It could have been great. I know that there's throws that I could make. There's, you know, 3 or 4 throws that I left out there that I could make if I just get my feet right and put the ball accurately to the spot it needs to be. And then with the 1 turnover, obviously, you know, I need to make a good decision. It wasn't a matter of missing the throw or, you know, being inaccurate. It was just a decision thing. Monmouth, have to give them a lot of credit. They came out and they played us differently than we thought they were going to, and they made in-game adjustments. So they started bringing a lot of pressure and blitz. They started going 1 high man, cover 3, and then even when they played man coverage, they were playing off what we call 1 hole, and so they were kind of playing off technique. And on that particular throw and play, the linebacker kind of was just dropping back, and I thought I could squeeze it in there, kind of overestimate my arm a little bit, and he made a good play on the ball. So if I had that back, I think I'd obviously make a different decision with the ball and take care of it. But other than that, I feel like I had a really good game. But like I said, I wanted to be better. As an offense, we had 3 drives that we got inside the red zone, and we got knocked out of the red zone with penalties and then a fumble. So I wanted to score more points.
What is it about Coach Herman's offense that you really take to the most? Obviously, he's a proven offensive coach wherever he's been, so now you have an opportunity to draw from not only what he's been, but what he's also brought to the program.
Just the system overall. I knew it was a really good fit from a passing game standpoint, from a run game standpoint, from the RPOs, run pass option, and I know what he wants to do on offense. And really, people talk about Coach Herman's system, but if you look at the coordinators that he's hired and the quarterback coaches, he knows what he's doing. The offensive line coach is great, and so overall, he just has a really good offensive staff here with the offensive coordinator Charlie Fry and his background. And then offensive line coach Ed Warner is great. You know, he's been at big time programs and he's a really good offensive line coach, one of the best in the industry. So I think with Herman, you have to give a credit to the staff and also the system that he has here. We're still a work in progress. We want to be better on offense, but it was pretty good for us to be balanced in the run and pass game tonight and to distribute the football around and get the ball to playmakers in space. But I'm really proud of the way the O-line played tonight, my receivers and the running back as well.
Well, how would you? Let's piggyback off of Warner. He's been around over 40 years anyway, so he's seen just about everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good. I mean, I met Ed Warner in 2016, April 7th through 9th. I went on a visit to Ohio State, and I sat in a 4-hour offensive meeting with offensive coordinator Tim Beck and Ed Warner. At the time, Ed Warner actually was offensive coordinator, and he sat down and we went over protections and blitzes and 5-man protection and 6-man protection. And I just remember we sat in a 4-hour meeting during spring ball with Joe Burrow, JT Barrett, those guys. And that's when I kind of got to know Ed Warner. But being back around him now, he's really good and he's very detailed and he drives a lot of energy into the guys in the offense.
How would you
Last
describe
one, Richard?
How would you describe the overall composure of the team as a whole, considering that they did not make a lot of mistakes tonight, considering they only had 3 penalties compared to Monmouth's 8. How would you describe how they were able to not make too many mistakes on the field?
The thing is that on offense, we really only stopped ourselves. You know, we had, like I said, we got the ball inside the red zone 3 times. 2 penalties knocked us out of red zone, and we're out of field position to score a touchdown or get a field goal. And then we had a turnover inside the red zone. Obviously, that's not good at the end. And so I know that in a game like this, you can't make too many mistakes because when you play against tougher opponents, they're going to be very critical to the outcome of the game. So we were very fortunate to get a win and still have those 3 mistakes. But our number 1 goal for this week was to clean operation on offense, and we did a pretty good job of that, like you said, with limited mistakes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Dan.
I would say, you know, I felt like everybody who went in on defense played with relentless effort, like Coach says. You know, we have things we need to work on and fix during the week, but, you know, overall, I feel like the pursuit of the ball and, you know, getting past the ball like Coach wants us, I feel like it was there all night.
First career interception. Tell me your emotions at that moment.
You know, it was awesome. It was a great feeling. But, you know, at the same time, you got to lock in and, you know, play the next play. So, but I mean, it was a fantastic feeling.
Did the thought go through your head? Because it looked like he threw it right at you. Did your thought go through your head? Do not drop this.
Well, really, I didn't have no time. I looked up and it was right in my chest, and I just, you know, I just had to catch it. So I really had no time to think.
Jarrett, you know, the defense had its fair share of ups and downs, but the main up was stopping the Monmouth's rushing game, especially Jaden Sheridan, who was their star rusher. How would you describe how the defense felt in just being successful in stopping the part that they were very good at on offense?
Yes, sir. I knew that, you know, we all knew that if we came out and, you know, everybody did their job, that we'd be able to stop it. You know, he's a good player. You know, he leads the rushing yards in his conference and stuff like that from last year. You know, we knew it was going to be a battle trying to stop the run, but I feel like, you know, we were pretty successful with that.
Yes? Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, man.